The only thing that could make waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning to watch some Road to the UFC title fights worth it is cashing some bets, and that's what we're hoping to do. I'm going to tell you right now, it's been a cold streak. It's been a great year overall. A great year overall. I couldn't have asked for more. But the last 3 weeks have been absolutely brutal. But we got some good vibes going into this week. We got to stay positive. We got to look towards the future, put the past in the past. We look forward to this card. I'm going to give you a couple bets on UFC Macau. I'll give you the DFS plays. We'll recap last week, and hopefully we cash some bets this week because, boys, I need it. I need it bad. Let's talk about last week. Took an L on the parlay. Was never really live because Basil Hafez decided to get chinned for the first time in his career. But even if that hit, Jim Miller subbed Damon Jackson in the first round. So that was an L overall. Bad bet. Money line on Mickey Gall. It wasn't looking too bad until Ramiz Brahimaj decided to get the first KO of his career. Did not see that one coming, but I guess you had to factor in Mickey Gall doesn't have the best chin. We take an L on that one, and Michael Chandler was getting smothered for the first 2 rounds. It had no chance of hitting because Michael Chandler off for a, Jesus Christ, dude, his veins are popping out. How does this guy not knock Charles Oliveira out? Okay, how does this guy go in there and look like he's afraid to swing with Charles Oliveira? Whatever. They were just a little sprinkles. Didn't lose too much there. They were massive odds, so if it did hit, it would have been a nice big cash. But either way, we went 0 for 3 on the best bet show. But I did give you Jake Paul money line. I'm not going to count that towards the best bet show, but I gave you it. It was a free layup, man. It's the freest money of the year. Hopefully, you watched that video. Hopefully, you bet on Jake Paul. Hopefully, you did not bet on Mike Tyson because, boys, I don't think we'll ever see a bet like that again in a very long time. It was one of the freest bets you could have ever had. You could have literally just went Jake Paul, John Jones parlay, and that would have been probably the easiest money you could have ever made off of a 2-leg parlay. Really wish I went harder, but I did throw a good amount of money on that one, so happy was able to give that out to people, and hopefully some people made some money. The best bets record overall, 3 straight losing weeks. Okay, when I give you these best bets, I usually take 2 or 3 of my overall bets on the card. So sometimes I give you some winners, sometimes I give you some losers. But overall, the past 3 weeks for me, whether I'm giving you the best bets or the premium plays, has not been good. I always want to be transparent. It has not been good. But overall in the year, we're having a great year. We can't let a few weeks get us down. Okay, we got to stay positive, move on. In these last 3 cards, hopefully we can print some cash. Let's get into it. First bet. We're going with a parlay. We're running the over 2.5s here, man. We're going over 2.5 in the Quang Lee Zhao Long fight. Don't see much of a finishing potential in this one outside of a Quang Lee massive left hook or some type of Quang Lee crawling on top of the back and snatching up a submission. I don't think there's a ton of finishing equity from Zhao Long in this one. So I'm pretty confident that this one goes over 2.5. We're going to pair that up with the over 2.5 in Ricci versus Jan. Ricci's a decisionator. I don't think Jan is going to put her out. I think that's really the only way it could get finished. I guess maybe you could look at a Ricci submission, but the odds on that are crazy. The over 2.5 on this fight is like minus 400, but you pair these two together, we're getting minus 114. I'm throwing 1.5 units on that one. We're taking some women's overs. There has not been a knockout with the Decisionator gloves, the new gloves, because they're going back to the new gloves that didn't have KOs. There's never been a knockout in women's strawweight with the new gloves. We're going to have those for the last 2 fight nights of this year. The pay-per-view is going to be the old gloves once again. So I'm pretty confident Jan's going to not going to knock her out. And I think this one goes to a decision. So over 2.5 on both of those fights. Minus 114. Nice little bankroll builder parlay. 1.5 units. Let's cash it, boys. Let's cash it. This should be free money. This should be free money. Let's move on to the underdog fantasy plays. If you're in one of these highlighted states, as bad as I have been for my straight bets, my DFS plays have still been pretty solid. So that's just a consistent winner there, up over 51 units on the year on DFS, on Underdog and Betr Picks. So if you're in one of these highlighted states, go down to the, just mess that up. Go down to the link down in the description, download the app, use my code HeyJob. You'll get a deposit bonus up to $1,000. And you can put these plays in on the next slide, and hopefully you can green out your slips like this so we can cash in. Link down in the description. Let's look at the plays. I didn't go too heavy on this one because I don't like the card overall from a betting standpoint, so I don't have that many bets on. But I do have 4 DFS plays overall, and then, of course, I got to throw in the long shot slips. So 20x payout right here. Shi Ming, lower on significant strikes. She's so small, I don't think she's going to be able to reach Shou Kan Feng. And if anything, she's probably going to have to try to grapple. So she probably does not get 60 significant strikes at this one. I really doubt it. I really doubt it. Dong Hoon Choi, lower on significant strikes. He's not a high-volume guy. He's facing a guy that has a height and reach advantage, so I don't expect him to be racking him up. The only way that I think this could go over is if they get in some type of slugfest, or if Dong Hoon Choi is just chopping legs and racks up like 40 significant strikes off of leg kicks, which I don't really see happening. So I like lower on Dong Hoon Choi there. Gabriela Fernandez, lower on significant strikes. We have the upside for early finish. If Kong Wang is the real deal, she's probably going to knock out or finish Gabriela Fernandez early on in the fight, which I think she could do. But either way, Gabriela Fernandez, a girl that's not super high volume. I mean, she fought a high volume striking affair with Carly Judice, but Carly Judice is a girl that has no pop, and she is just all volume all day. And anybody that goes up against Carly Judice is going to rack up 100 significant strikes. Kong Wang only averages about 1 significant strike absorbed per minute. She's got good footwork. She stays the outside. She picks her spots. I don't think Gabriela Fernandez racks him up in this one by any means. So lower on significant strikes for Gabriela Fernandez. Petr Yan higher on significant strikes. The 90.5 number is just too low. It should be over 100 because Petr Yan lands over 5 significant strikes per minute. This fight's favored to go 25 minutes. I think it probably does go 25 minutes. So he should be up around 120, 125. You know, Davison Figueiredo, he only averages about 3 significant strikes absorbed per minute. But I don't expect him to be getting takedowns on Yan. Yan has 85% takedown defense. I think he's going to be forced to stand and strike with Yan. I think Yan's going to be able to rack up some volume and be able to put it on Figgy, especially later in the fight. So higher on significant strikes there for Yan. And lower on Carlos Hernandez. He's facing a guy in Naim Jorgel who's just all gas, no brakes. He's going to be throwing wild stuff at you from the jump. So I think there's upside for an early finish in this fight. I also think there's upside for a lot of grappling in this fight. I think Carlos Hernandez is probably going to be looking to avoid the big bombs that Naim Jorgel is throwing at him. He'll probably be looking for some takedowns, looking to slow the fight down. But even on the feet, he has some good volume, but I just don't know that Naim Jorgel is going to be standing in front of him, just boxing with him. He's going to be throwing some wild stuff out there. And I think Carlos Hernandez is going to go lower than 65.5 significant strikes. So that's 5 legs, 20x payout there. The 3Xers right here, 2-leggers. Already talked about Yan, already talked about Hernandez, Shi Ming, and Gabriela Fernandez. These are the ones that we're really concerned about. So we get a 3x payout there, 3x payout there. Once again, link down in the description. Put these plays in if you're in one of these highlighted states. Use my code HeyJob when you sign up. You get a deposit bonus up to $1,000. And let's cash some slips. Let's move on to a round prop bet. We're going over 2.5 rounds in the Song Kenan Muslim Salikov fight. Sitting at minus 150. I put 1 unit on it. I think this fight is actually going to be a pretty slow-paced striking affair. That's what Muslim Salikov does. Okay, Muslim Salikov lulls you into these slow-paced striking affairs, and Song Kenan is a victim to that. He's a victim to a low-paced striking affair. Some people say he has this massive power. I don't really believe it. I don't think he has big setups to knock out a guy like Salikov. If you look at how Salikov's getting knocked out, it's the leech. The leech has some power. He has good striking on the feet, and he's a very high level. Randy Brown, same thing. Very fast, very sharp, good setups. And he just landed a perfect right hand. I find it very hard to believe that Song Kenan knocks out Muslim Salikov even at 40 years of age. And either way, you know, if Salikov is going to knock out Song Kenan, it's going to have to be some crazy spinning back kick or spinning hook kick, spinning wheel kick, whatever. It's going to have to be some type of crazy technique. So I think this fight probably goes to a decision. We're playing the over 2.5 rounds here. At minus 150, I think it's well worth it. I'm putting a unit on that one. So lock it in, boys. The overs, I hate watching them just because you're pretty much rooting for nothing to happen. But either way, I think it cashes. Minus 150. Let's go. All right, so if you want the bets, you can jump in the Home of Fight Picks premium membership on Winnable. On the year, like I said, the year has been great. Lately, it hasn't been great, but the year has been great. We're up over 80 units still on the year, even with the bad few weeks on the straight bets. But the daily fantasy plays are still cooking, up over 50 units there. And we're almost at 30 units on the sportsbook plays. I'd really like to get to 100 units by the end of the year between this card, PFL, UFC 310, and UFC Tampa. If we can cook up some good plays, I think we could get to 100 units. So link down in the description. Join the Home of Fight Picks Premium on Winnable. And you can get all my bets unlocked there for this week. And if you sign up on Friday, just today's Friday, or Saturday, which you probably want to do it on Friday, you'll get my PFL plays for next week as well. We'll definitely have some PFL plays. That card is the championship fight, so some good fights going down. I'll have some bets on those fights as well. Now we'll move on to the better picks. Check out the map right here. If you're in one of these purple states, you're eligible to play. Download the app. There's a link down in the description below. Use my code HeyJive. You get a deposit bonus up to $250, and you can cash some slips like these. Okay? I really want to hit one of these 7 or 8 leggers again. And honestly, the plays that I put in this week, feel pretty good about. So, I mean, I pretty much say that every week. But either way, I always feel good about the plays that I put in. Why else would I put them in? You know? So, you can put those plays in on the screen. 8-legger this week is Quang Lee, higher on significant strikes. He fought Chris Gutierrez, so his UFC data is going to be very skewed. So it says he lands like 1 or 2 significant strikes per minute. If he's facing Zhao Long's a guy that is pretty hittable. So I think Quang Lee, if this fight does go to decision, as I expected to, I think he can get 55, 60 in this matchup. So 40.5 is just too low. Take his over. Jose Ochoa, we're going over as well. I think that fight could probably go to a decision. Ochoa is a pretty high-volume guy. And if they're not going to be grappling, I think this is probably a stand-up fight. I think he could go well over 40.5 in that one. Carlos Hernandez, already talked about him. Su Young Yu, lower on significant strikes. He's a grappler. He's probably going to be looking to just spam takedowns. I don't expect him to be standing and striking too much. And on the ground, he doesn't have much of a ground and pound. Dunhon Choi, lower on significant strikes. Already talked about that. Fernandez, lower. Yan, lower. And Zhou Confang, lower on significant strikes. I wanted to put Ming Shi in this one, but she wasn't available on the app yet. So I put Zhou Confang. I think there is some upside for an early finish, but either way, she's not a super high-volume girl. I mean, she uses her length pretty well. She likes to stay at range. She's not a girl that throws a ton in combination. She's looking to land a big shot with her left hand or with her kicks. So I don't know that she racks him up against Shi Ming. There is some upside for some grappling in that fight as well. So I like the lower on that one. And then these 2-leggers, we already talked about Quang Lee, Jose Ochoa, Donghoon Choi, and Su Young Yu. So those are 3x multipliers on these 2-leggers, a 99x. The only reason it's not 100 is because I use my Betr Bucks. $50 pays $49.50 on that 8-legger. Once again, if you're in one of these purple states, download the app. There's a link down in the description. Use the code HeyJive, get your deposit bonus. Lock these plays in. Let's make some money. Other than that, boys, I appreciate you for watching. You can join the free Telegram channel if you'd like. There's a link down in the description below. I'll throw my long shots in there. I'll throw the DFS plays in there as well. And whatever else is going on. You know, if I got any NFL bets or whatever, I'll let you know in the free Telegram. Why not? It's free. Join it. Link down in the description. Appreciate you for watching. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Other than that, hopefully we cash some bets. We need a winner this week because the last few weeks have been so frustrating. But we can't be outcome driven. Okay, we got to be driven by the process. We got to have some positive momentum. We got to think positive. We got to manifest this, okay? I'm going to be manifesting it all day. Hopefully you cash your bets. Hopefully we cash our bets. And I'll see you on the other side. Hey, Job Picks.